There's something major holding people back from playing diddles, playing faster, playing around the drum set with fluidity, and moving in between hands comfortably. In general, it's holding people back from moving to the next level where they can easily execute ideas that are coming from within and sound good while doing it. That something is called movement approach. How we move the sticks, our touch, our preps, everything from when we move the stick down to when it comes right back up. We're gonna fix all these problems today. Then I'll give you a fantastic exercise to aid you on your journey of movement mastery. First, let's talk about what needs to happen for the stick to move correctly. We need a solid technique foundation. Now, I've broken down technique many times on this channel, so I'll link you to my very first video up here where I break technique all the way down. But if you're new here and don't want to click away, I'll give you some key points. Your thumb and index finger go right across from each other at the bounce point of the stick. The bounce point is the part of the stick where the weight distribution makes it the bounciest. For most sticks, it's usually around the bottom third area. Make sure your thumb has full contact, fingerprint on the stick, index finger across from it somewhere around these two knuckles. Nice and relaxed, this is your front fulcrum. Go ahead and wrap your middle finger around the stick. Make sure it's kind of sitting in this pocket right here. This contact between your middle finger and your thumb is your middle fulcrum. Now add your pinky and your ring finger around the stick, sitting in the same pocket as your middle finger was, and maintain full contact with the stick. This is your back fulcrum. If you want to know how to utilize those three fulcrums while you're playing, check out this gear shifter video. Okay, all that's really left is to make sure that our rotation is coming from the right place. So be sure to keep your arms relaxed and to follow the movement naturally from the furthest point of the stick, which is the bead. If you follow the bead, everything will rotate correctly. Though there are exceptions, like forearm pumping and molar and whip and stuff like that, but that's not what we're talking about. One more thing, don't let the stick move horizontally. If you let the stick leave its pocket, you'll lose contact and typically have to squeeze somewhere to regain control. All right, that's out of the way. Let's talk about how we should move the stick down. So all notes start with a prep, otherwise our sticks would always just be up. So we have to prepare for a stroke by lifting up. This is pretty much the only time we're actually going to lift the stick. When we prep when playing certain figures is one of the most overlooked aspects of playing with speed and control. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. For now, you've rotated the wrist up and now you're ready to play. All this potential energy just waiting to be thrown down. At this point, we want to throw the stick down with full velocity and relaxed hands. Full velocity meaning we aren't pulling our punches, so to speak. Like we don't want to carry any tension. Think of throwing the stick down the same way you'd throw a ball. And having control over our touch is really important. The speed at which the stick moves down determines our volume and the rebound. But in this case, just let it go. We want to avoid what we call feather tapping, which is where the contact of our stick to the drum is too controlled because of our own resistance. This will destroy the natural movement completely and all energy will be lost. So think of playing through the drum, sort of, as if the drum is the only thing in between your stick and the floor. The relaxed hands part becomes extremely important at this point because once the stick makes contact with the drum, all the physics in our universe will make it want to fly right back up to where it came from at about the same speed. If your hands are not fully relaxed, then this can't happen. Any sort of tension will stop the stick, destroying all of the energy. If your hand is relaxed, then the stick will immediately fly all the way back up, bringing your grip with it. This is where people get caught up when playing things like diddles, threes, fours, or even singles. The flow of the sticks coming back up is being interfered with, so we're not placing our notes at the right time. Another important aspect of this is what your arms are doing. All your muscles for your fingers and hands are right here in your forearms, and your forearms are connected all the way up to your shoulders. If these muscles are activated or tense in any way, you'll end up resisting the stick on the way down, or you'll be forcing it down. So don't lock your arms in place, keep them relaxed. If you're trying to isolate wrist movement, just lead from the beads. And keep in mind that your wrists are attached to your arms. So like a little bit of movement in your arms is okay. So once the stick is back to where it started, you can just repeat the whole process over again. For full strokes like these, where all the notes are coming from the same place, the only thing you should be doing is throwing the stick down. The rest will happen on its own. What if I'm playing with dynamics and at some point my stick has to come from a lower height, like a tap, or just a quieter volume? It's what we call a downstroke. Then I do have to do something, but without getting in the way of the stick's energy. So at that point, we basically just limit the motion of our wrist without actually forcing it. Because the difficulty here is that the concept of relaxed hands should never go away, and we don't want to activate any muscles to hold the stick down. So all we gotta do is just hit the brakes. The brakes are this lower point of our palm, kind of in the back fulcrum neighborhood. If we let the stick just touch this area, because it's the back of the stick, it will stop. And again, we don't want to squeeze for this to happen. It's more of just a control of your back fingers kind of thing. This way you won't break the flow of rhythm and movement when you're changing the height of the stick. Otherwise, if tension does stop the motion, you pretty much have to start it back up again. This is why you might be struggling with things like accented paradiddles or just accents in general. And then opposite to this, if you do have to play a louder, higher note after you've played a low, quiet note, it's what we call an upstroke, then that's an instance where we actually do have to lift the stick, similar to where we started. But the difference is that the stick is already already moving. So we just want to follow that natural movement that's already coming from the rebound. Now let's talk about preps, specifically hand-to-hand preps. This is the other area of movement approach that can make you break. Like, when do we bring our non-playing hand up to get ready for its turn? Let's say I'm playing fours. Do I shoot my hand up immediately and wait for it to play? Do I shoot it up at the last second? Do I do something kind of in between? Well, we want to be as relaxed and natural about this as possible. Try not to overthink this, even though I'm over-explaining it. But I think it's important to know how all this works because I see it holding people back constantly. Just think of how you prep for one note. Like, you're not shooting your hand up as fast as possible, and you're not prepping way before you play. Our preps are one of the variables that we use for timing. Think of a prep kind of like a breath. You take your breath in, and then you start singing, or talking, or whatever. So try to avoid the potential energy tension where your stick is just stopped in the air, and try to avoid the whole pedal to the metal tension of shooting your hand up at the last second. Pretend there's like a little balloon tied to the tip of your stick, and it just floats up naturally and smoothly. Let's try experimenting with preps and just see what different things feel like. We're gonna play fours, and then talking about our non-dominant hand. Let's first try prepping on the first of four, then we'll try prepping on the second note of four, and then the third, and then the last note. And again, don't shoot your hand up, try to do it naturally. So you might notice that between all of those, my stick is moving at a different speed on the way up. Did any of them look uncomfortable or tense? Hopefully not. They're all usable in some way. Again, you might be thinking, this is overkill. Why would I need to know how to do any of this stuff? Well, it's because we play the drum set. And when you're moving from surface to surface, sometimes you have a long distance to travel. Sometimes you have a short distance to travel. At the end of the day, if you're relaxed, holding no tension, playing the correct rhythm, and getting where you need to go at the right time, then you're probably fine. So that's movement approach. Pretty simple and straightforward in theory, but it might take some time and awareness to get over any bad habits that are holding you back from doing this consistently. So here's a good exercise for this that I use with all my students. It's basically a stock fluidity exercise. All right, so this exercise starts with just a measure of singles, then we do a measure of diddles, then we'll do a measure of some threes, and then a four. So that's gonna be right, 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 left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 right, 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 right. That four puts us to our left hand to do the same thing off our left. Left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 left. Then we'll do a whole measure of fours. Now we go backwards kinda. So we're gonna do the threes thing again, starting off the right and then switching to our left. Then we'll do a measure of diddles again. Then we do a measure of singles again. So I'm gonna go through this pretty slow, like 100 BPM, which is probably too fast if this is your first time doing something like this. Don't be scared to go slow. Start everything slower than you think you should, because when you're playing slow, you can zoom in on every movement that you're doing. That's the fastest way to build consistent technique. Let's do same thing 120 just for fun. If you like this video, please give me a subscribe, a like, leave a comment. Check out the description for a link to my website if you want to take lessons with me. Down there, there's also a free PDF of the fluidity exercise we just did. There's a link to my music. There's a link to my Instagram where you can see all the behind the scenes stuff of my professional drumming life. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.